In today's video, we're going to take a dive into the September 2024 housing market update for Cedar City, Utah and St. George, Utah to give you an idea of what these markets are currently doing. We'll also take a look at where mortgage interest rates are headed as well as where home prices are headed. And if you stick around till the end, we'll take a look at how the presidential elections have been affecting the housing market every 4 years. All right, my name is Elizabeth Prisbrey. I'm with Stratum Real Estate Group. If you are looking to buy, sell, or invest here in Southern Utah, I would love to help you with that. Please feel free to call, text, or email anytime. My contact information is down below in the description. Now, I say September 2024 housing market update. It is actually going to be for August. We are going to compare August year over year for the last 10 years. I say September because I am recording this in September. We had to wait for August to finish out so that we could pull that data. Now, I have jumped us into our slides because I like to give you a visual while we are discussing these. We're going to take a look at Cedar City and St. George together so that we can compare these two markets. They are quite different. However, they're only about a 45-minute drive apart. They are both located in southern Utah and they are both deserts. However, Cedar City, Utah is a high desert, so you are getting a mild 4 seasons in Cedar City. It also has a lower population than St. George does, right around 40,000 people, whereas St. George is closer to about 108,000 people. Just to give you a little bit of an idea of why these two markets are different. Now, Cedar City is going to be in blue, St. George is going to be in green. We're going to take a look at the median sales price first because that's what most people want to look at to see how these housing markets are doing. You'll notice that I do have August here for the last 10 years so that we can see what the trends are doing. Currently, Cedar City has ended out August right around $335,000 as a median sales price, whereas St. George has finished out August right around $496,000. That shows you how different these housing markets are, with St. George being well over $100,000 more for that median sales price. Now remember, we are taking the median, so half of the homes that are being sold are lower than this price and half of the homes that are being sold are higher than this price. It's important to note that because you might be in a price range that is either above or below this price point. Now, as we take a look at this, you can see that year over year, St. George had a pretty good increase from last August to this August. They had a good dip from 2022 to 2023, some depreciation there, but then they show appreciation over the last year. Cedar City didn't quite get that same dip that St. George took from 2022 to 2023. However, we have seen that median sales price go down about $20,000 over the last 2 years. Now, you'll notice for the month of August, over the last 10 years, we only saw St. George go down 1 year and Cedar City go down the last 2 years. Again, not very much for the time that we have been in. For the most part, both markets have had a gradual increase in the median sales price. Now, it's important to note that if we were to look at this month over month, you're going to see these markets fluctuate because the housing market is different each month. So for example, in July, both St. George and Cedar City shows that the median sales price was higher than it was in August, which means the median sales price went down for both of these cities. However, when we look at August year over year, so all the way back here, this month is going to be August, St. George, of course, went up. We saw that on the last slide. Cedar City went down slightly, but just barely from last August. Now take a look at July over July. I left July in here from 23 so that you could see that trend. It was higher in July, went down in August. Higher in July in 24, went down in August. Same thing for St. George. Higher in July, went down in August. Again, higher in July, went down in August. So that tells us why we want to take a look at these month over month and not compare it to the previous month, because the housing market is different month over month. You have people coming back to the market at different times during the year. So this is where we're currently at for the median sales price for these two cities. But I do want to take a look at a few other features such as the absorption rate. The absorption rate is the monthly supply of housing that we currently have on the market. That means if we were to not list any new homes, it would take us that many months to sell off the homes that are currently on the market, assuming nothing changes within the market. So again, Cedar City in blue and St. George in green. You'll notice if we take a look at the blue, which is Cedar City, we're almost to a 4-month supply of housing. We haven't seen that since before 2018. So it was slightly less than that in 2018. Now for St. George, the green line, we're almost to that 4-month supply. It's about 3.74 for that monthly supply of housing. If we were to just take that all the way over, we haven't been that high since 2016. Now, the reason this is important is because our month's inventory indicates whether it is a buyer's market or a seller's market. 5 to 7 months is about a balanced market. We are currently hovering around a 4-month supply. I am starting to see buyers have more negotiating options when they are going in to purchase a home. However, it is still technically considered a seller's market. When we consider that to where we are now, you can see that our market is starting to become more balanced. We're not quite there yet. It's still considered seller's market, but we are getting there. And I'll show you why that is taking place as we go through these slides. Now, days on market is another indicator of how healthy our market is doing. You can see in blue here with Cedar City, our days on market have gone up considerably over the last 3 years since 2021, when we had about an 8-day supply in August, whereas now we're up to a 47-day supply. That is much higher than it was in 2023, and that does affect our numbers and our monthly supply of housing. We actually haven't seen homes sitting on the market that long since 2019, and in St. George, we're sitting right around a 30-day supply, so definitely less time than Cedar City, about a month, slightly down from last year in 2023, but prior to that, pretty comparable to 2019, and then before that, 2016. So 2016 was still slightly below where we are looking in 2024 right now. I bring those up to compare them to our median sales price and our monthly supply of housing, because you can see that even though we had those longer days on market, even though we had higher monthly supply of housing, we still showed appreciation in both Cedar City and St. George, because these cities are continuing to grow and they have a large appeal to people. So now that I've kind of shown you where the median sales price is, where the monthly supply of inventory is, and what our median days on market are, let's break down just Cedar City and then we'll take a look at St. George. So I have our new listings in blue, our active in red, our pending in purple, and our sold in green for Cedar City. The active listings is everything that is currently available in the market. It will include with it the new listings, but new listings are those homes that come on the market in the month of August. So if we take a look at our active listings for the end of August, we have about 263. Now this is specific to just Cedar City. Of course, there's other outlying towns. We're looking just at Cedar City. This is up from 194 in 2023. However, it's pretty similar to where it was in 2022 when things kind of stalled out there. But it is actually higher than where we were in 2019. So these active listings, this is what is helping our monthly supply of housing, because if you come down here and you take a look at our sold listings for the month of August in Cedar City for 2024 is right about 60 sales. Last year, it was around 84 sales at this exact same time. So we did see a dip in closed sales here, which is helping our monthly supply of housing to go up. Remember, we want that monthly supply of housing to go up because it's much better to have a balanced market. We don't want things getting out of control. Even though if you're a seller, you want it to be a seller's market, and if you're a buyer, you want it to be a buyer's market, it really is better for everyone if both sides have that negotiating power. So as we take a look at those days on market that are sitting longer, and we take a look at that monthly supply of housing, because we are getting more new listings to the market. If you look here, we had about 100 new listings in August this year, where last year we had about 89. So we had more new listings come to the market. We had less closings, which puts up our active listings and helps our monthly supply of housing. More supply of housing, home sits on the market a little bit longer. We see that median sales price come down a little bit as the negotiating power is there. I know I'm talking really quickly. Hopefully you're following along with that, but of course, please reach out and ask any questions if you have them. So now if we take a look at St. George, our active listings are right around 609, whereas last year they were about 539. So again, that helps our monthly supply of housing. That's pretty comparable to 2018, so pre-pandemic, which is what we really want to look at to see how healthy our market is, slightly above 2018. Now our new listings in St. George went slightly down from the last 2 years. We had about 246 new listings come to the market in August, which is just slightly less than 2023. Now you see how that makes a difference with our median sales price. St. George saw an increase in their median sales price. Cedar City saw a slight decrease in the median sales price. These active listings really make a difference in the housing market. Now, as far as pending and sold, the sold went down slightly from 2023, but not much, not like it did in Cedar City. And then the pending went slightly up, but pretty similar to what it was the last 2 years. However, those are still quite a bit lower than they have been for the last 10 years. So as these numbers go down, that monthly supply of housing is increased and we start to stabilize that median sales price. All right, now that we've given a brief overview of these two markets and what they are doing year over year in the month of August, let's take a look at where mortgage interest rates are headed. Now remember, mortgage interest rates are indirectly affected by the Fed funds rate. We are hearing that the Fed funds rate may be coming down around September 18th. We're not sure what this will be yet or how this will affect our mortgage rates. All we can do is take our best guess on how things are going. So that is what we are watching. That federal funds rate is usually affected by the US inflation rate as well as the unemployment rate. We're going to take a look at the US inflation rate. You can see that over the last year, it is the lowest that it has been. Now, this goes through the end of July 2024. It's always a month behind where we are, but you can see it's down to about 2.8%. The targeted goal is a 2% inflation rate. We haven't actually seen that since back in February 2021. So that is why we are still seeing higher mortgage interest rates than we were a few years ago. Now, when the housing market boomed, it's because we had really low mortgage interest rates. If I go back 3 years, you can see that this 30-year fixed mortgage interest rate, and this is of course an average based on Freddie Mac's website, but you can see we were down to 3% 3 years ago. We watched those climb. Now, if we just take a look at this year, so in the last year, you can see that we actually have the lowest mortgage interest rate that we have had over the last year. We haven't seen this one in a while. So we are starting to see those mortgage interest rates come down. Right now, as of September 3rd, the recording of this video, we are right around a 6.35% as an average for a 30-year fixed mortgage interest rate based on Freddie Mac's website. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I can project mortgage interest rates. I cannot. However, I did pull a slide from Keeping Current Matters. They do a great job putting up these slides so they can help us understand the market. So this is as of August 27th, 2024. These are the rate projections from well-known sources such as Fannie Mae, MBA, the National Association of Realtors, and Wells Fargo. Now it takes us all the way out to Q4 of 2025. Let's just focus on the end of 2024 since that's what's up and coming and all of this can change quite a bit. Fannie Mae is saying we're going to end out the year right around 6.4%, MBA 6.5%, National Association of Realtors 6.7%, and Wells Fargo at 6.25% with an average of 6.46%. Now you can see we're at 6.35% right now. So if you are considering purchasing a home this year, now would be a good time to get with a lender and just kind of see what options are available for you. If those rates do drop, you want to make sure that you're ready to go in and lock in a rate at the lowest level because that is going to benefit you in the long run. Now, the next question is, where are home prices headed? Well, we can take a look at what the national forecast is from some well-known sources. This is for 2025. So the appreciation that they project we're going to see in percentage, of course, the average of all of these is going to be about 2.6, with Goldman Sachs projecting the highest at 4.4% appreciation and Moody's Analytics suggesting just 0.3% appreciation. However, if we take a look at some of the more well-known sources like Freddie Mac's, that's 0.6%, National Association of Realtors is 1.9%, MBA is 2.9%. Now, again, this is national, this isn't local, but we're looking at the data for your local market, and you can see with the same conditions that we saw in 2018, 2019, both of our markets are pretty comparable to what they were then, and we have seen some price corrections from those outlier years. The data is indicating that we will likely see appreciation if the conditions remain the same. Now, we do have the presidential election coming up, so I wanted to take a look at how the presidential election might impact our housing market. This is a question I get all the time, and most of us have our ideas on whether or not the presidential election affects the housing market as far as mortgage interest rates, home prices, home sales. So I wanted to take a look at some of the data that Keeping Current Matter has pulled together for us just to kind of give give you an indication of what has happened historically during a presidential election. So there is going to be a slight seasonal drop in sales in the month prior to the presidential election. So this is looking at October to November. We're not quite there yet, but we are starting to see a seasonal slowdown. And so this will kind of give you an idea of what typically happens right before these elections. So on a non-election year, we see a negative 9.8% slowdown, whereas on a presidential election year, we see a slight drop to negative 15%. So home sales do go down in that month on a presidential election year. Now it's important to note that that doesn't last. Home sales actually went up after 9 of the last 11 presidential elections. The only time those home sales went down the year after was in 1981 and 1989. Every other year over the last 11 years, those home sales went up the year after an election. Now we also saw existing home prices go up the year after an election of the last 7 out of 8 presidential elections. The only time the home prices went down was in 2009, and we all know what was happening then. We were still in our housing bubble. The last thing I wanted to look at was the mortgage interest rates and how those are affected in the presidential election. They have actually decreased 8 out of the last 11 presidential elections. So we saw them increase in 1980, we saw them increase in 1992, and we saw them increase in 2016. Now, although we can see the presidential election has some impact on the housing market, it is minimal, so it shouldn't keep anyone sitting on the sidelines. If it is the right time for you to sell a home, then sell your home. If it is the right time for you to buy a home, then buy a home. You really want to just take into consideration your personal circumstances. Now, if you're unsure if it's right for you, remember my name is Elizabeth Prisbrey. I'm with Stratum Real Estate Group, and I would love to have a conversation with you to see if it is the right time. Even though I've presented all of this data and you now know what is going on here in Southern Utah with the housing market, it is still going to be specific to your situation. So let's get together, create a plan for you, and make sure that you are on the right track. All right, that's it for now. If you do have any questions, remember that contact information is down below in the description. Please don't hesitate to reach out. I promise you I will respond. All right, until next time, have a wonderful day.